Bitter criticism. I bet nothing is happening. I bet Iran will never do any harm against Israel because they love money. Because everybody loves money. Unfortunately, I mean, that's how people needs money. Actually, that's the question. So I guess Iran is not invading Israel. It's no problem. And well, and I guess the Houthis, yeah, I guess the Houthis are the only one who could do anything, something for the Palestinians. Let's see, Al Jazeera, will we? So look at this. Al Jazeera, thousands of displaced forces to flee again as Israel attacks Khan Yunis. So as you can see in Al Jazeera, they have this timeline. They're always showing some breaking news. They have news from 9 minutes ago. They are really covering what's happening in Gaza. So, Israel's war on Gaza live. Thousands of displaced forces to flee again. We have a video. This video may contain live patterns or images that could trigger seizures or cause discomfort for people with visual sensitivities. Let's watch it. Video react. Oh, and there's propaganda.
Anti-migrant riots by the far right. The Labour government has vowed to crack down on the unrest, which triggered nationwide anti-racist rallies on Wednesday. One of the false claims made about Black, Asian and Muslim groups is their contribution to the UK economy. So let's look at the number in closer details. Census data shows that most migrants to the UK are people paying for visas.
They are talking, maybe this is a live. Yeah, this is a live. No. They are talking about UK far right migrants something. But anyway, there's no video by Alastair Macready and Stephen Killen, August 9, 2024. Thousands of Palestinians have again been displaced from western Khan Yunis, only 2 weeks after being forced to flee another Israeli assault. Reports say that Israel has bombed the Al-Mawasi safe zone near the city in southern Gaza, causing casualties. Israeli forces launched new offensive on the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis, attacked some 30 sites after issuing new evacuation orders for exhausted residents. Yeah, so Israeli people, they are crazy about the Bible. They are crazy about the Torah. They are genocidal about Bible. Just like any religious people, you know? Just like any religious people. Religious people, they are just genocidal. I mean, monotheist people, religious people, who cares, you know? So the only good thing Palestinians could do when they saw this crazy religious people back in 1946, it was go away, you know? Go away to a secularist country. Definitely, they should try to do it. Go away from religious people, yeah. Go away from religious people. That could be the headline, yeah. Go away from religious people. Yeah, what about that? Because all religious people, they tend to believe in a judgmental religion, in a judgmental God. Understand? On a judgmental monotheist God. And they are always wrong, you know. There are so many exceptions, you know. There's no right or wrong, absolutely right or absolutely wrong, you know. That's the whole question about the problems about religion. So 12 minutes ago, two foreign activists injured during West Bank clashes. The Palestine Red Crescent Society reports a 40-year-old American activist has been shot with live bullets during confrontations between local Palestinians and Israeli security forces in the town of Beita, near Nablus, in the occupied West Bank. The Red Crescent also reported Palestinians were injured by the deployment of tear gas by Israeli soldiers during these clashes. Elsewhere in the West Bank, another foreign activist was injured in an Israeli settler. Israeli settler attacked on Palestinian shepherds near Juba in the southern Jordan Valley. The Wafa news agency reported that the settlers assaulted the foreigner and abducted one Palestinian man, Ahmed Hussein Abu Mosem, who was found later near the Mehola settlement with severe injuries. So yeah, why this guy didn't flee to Sweden? Understand? Stay away from religious people. 29 minutes ago, I wish my leg will come back so I can play. A 10-year-old who lost his leg in an attack on a Gaza shelter in July has told the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees he wishes for a normal childhood. Quote, I had a football and a bicycle. I used to play with my friend at school. Abdul Rahman said, quote, I wish my leg will come back so I can play again. He is among thousands of children estimated to have lost limbs during the war. According to UNICEF, 1,000 children are estimated to have had one or both legs amputated during the war's first 10 weeks. So this editorial line from Al Jazeera is kind of melodramatic, you know. It's melodramatic, you know, because yeah. So, anyway, stay away from religious people. They are all just like Israeli people. Enough from Al Jazeera. I told you guys, I'm not a Zionist, you know. I promise I will never go to Israel because I'm an atheist. I'm secularist. I'm not a slave. I'm not a slave of money. Provocations. Anyway, Russia Today. Let's see what's going on in Turkus. Ukraine taking heavy losses in Kursk. Yeah, Kursk, Moscow. Yeah, go Russia. Yeah, Russia is a pretty capitalist country, a pretty unequal country. But somehow they are doing great. August 9, 2024, Ukraine taking heavy losses in Kursk, Moscow. Kiev has lost nearly 1,000 soldiers and over 100 armored vehicles over the past several days, Russian Defense Ministry has said. Yeah, 1,000 soldiers, I knew it. They will. So right now they are killing Ukrainians. Go Russia! Because Russia is also capitalist, but Ukraine is a satellite, is a proxy of the imperialism, so it's even worse. You may arguably say that Russia also supported Israel, but it's different, not directly. The only question about supporting Israel is the close degree. In which degree is closer? Understand? So the United States is very, very close, but all the rest of the world, we are slaves from the SWIFT system. We are slaves from the monetary fund. We have no choice, understand? We have no choice but the SWIFT system. And well, anyway, Russia today, and well, we hope Chinese people will make an alternative for the SWIFT system, alongside with Russia and other people, like Brazil maybe. But I was living in Brazil. I sometimes listen in Brazilian media. I forgot this is a specific word for internet media. I forget now. I forgot. But yeah, Brazilians, you cannot rely on Brazilians. I'm sorry. Brazilians are so lost. They are so lost in the world, in life, on their own minds. They think Chile is an alternative. Chile is a light tower. They think, Chile, they think is a kind of model. But this country, Chile, this is worse than Israel. This is even a more vassal. This is the more vassalized country in the world. People here are miserable. They are rats. They have no will of doing nothing, Absolutely rats. Fakery, absolutely fakery. No human beings on Chile. And Brazilians, they think Chile is an alternative, is a role model maybe. Who knows why? Who knows? Who knows why? Maybe because of, there's a heavy question in Brazil. Unrest, unsafety, and I mean by violence, unsafetyness, Back in Brazil, it's too violent, it's too unsafe, it's too insecure. And, the institutions doesn't work in Brazil. Zero institutions works, like nobody do their jobs, I mean, somebody do their jobs, but Brazil is also a parochialist society. It's a very cruel, is worse than the world. It's worse than the world. So it's worse than Chile. But Chile is kind of safe, but not because of development, Chile is safe because of Catholicism, Can you imagine that? Catholicism in the 21st century? Craziness. Catholicism. Stay away from religious people. Anyway, I'm just going to read this Orthodox Russian news. Bitter criticism on religious people. Ukraine, August 9, 2024, home, Russia and former Soviet Union. Ukraine taking heavy losses in Kursk, Moscow. Kiev has lost nearly 1,000 soldiers and over 100 armored vehicles over the past several days, Russia's defense ministry has said. We have a photograph from destruction of Ukrainian field ammunition in the border area of Kursk region. I don't know when, maybe this was yesterday. So an explosion of ammunition field. Yeah, so Russia is doing very well. Russian forces continue to inflict heavy losses on Ukrainian troops that crosses the border into Kursk region earlier this week. The Defense Ministry in Moscow reported on Friday, providing an estimate of Kiev's casualties in the incursion. According to the ministry, Ukraine has lost up to 945 soldiers, as well as 102 armored vehicles, including 12 tanks and 17 armored personnel carriers. The figures include more than 280 troops and 27 armored vehicles destroyed over the past 24 hours in areas bordering Kursk region, Moscow added. Yeah, so Russia is winning. Russia is, as everybody knows, there's zero chance for, the last article I read from Russia Today was one of these latest articles. Shows how Ukraine is desperate, If you are a Ukrainian man in Ukraine, you have zero expectations, Zero expectations in Ukraine for man. You will die. The report also stated that Russian airstrikes have recently destroyed 5 Stryker armored personnel carriers, as well as a Ukrainian military column that consisted of a tank, 4 APCs, and a Cossack combat vehicle. The ministry added that the operation to repel and destroy Ukraine's forces in the region continues, and that the Russian military, aided by airstrikes and artillery fire, has prevented Kiev's attempt to conduct raids deep into Russian territory in Kursk region. Ukrainian forces launched their cross-border incursion into Russia's Kursk region in early hours of Tuesday. The leadership in Kiev has said one of the objectives of the assault is to sow fear into the hearts of the Russian population in order to lower support for their government and eke out a stronger negotiation position. Russian President Vladimir Putin has described the attack as a larger scale provocation and has accused Kiev of conducting indiscriminate strikes on civilians, residential buildings, and ambulances. Multiple videos circulating online in the past 2 days appear to show Ukrainian troops firing on civilian cars. Yeah, I saw that. The Russian Defense Ministry has estimated that Kiev's assault was carried out by forces numbering up to 1,000, supported by tanks and artillery. The chief of the Russian General Staff, Valery Gerasimov, reported on Wednesday that Kiev's incursion had been halted by the Russian military and that Ukraine has suffered heavy losses. So yeah, so we have a lot of time now. Oh, I have an interesting news that says, look, Olympian kick it out of village after trying to buy cocaine. This is an Australian hockey player. An Australian hockey player from the capitalist world, yeah. But I'm going to read this one. Free speech is an illusion in the US. Tara Reid. Interesting, isn't it? So, probably she's talking about Scott Ritter. August 9, 2024, Home World News. Free speech is an illusion in the US. Tara Reid. The government is targeting Scott Ritter and other critics of America's endless wars, the former aide to Joe Biden has said. What? I don't know what's aide, but it's like supporter. Tara Reid, a Democrat supporter maybe, you are only free to speak your mind in the US if you are saying what the authorities want you to say, Russia Today contributor and former aide to Joe Biden, Tara Reid, has claimed. Yeah, you know, Russia is just doing what we need to do. You know, back in Brazil, in Chile, everywhere in the global south, there's just coward people. Myself, yeah, I have this mindset of this global south mindset. I think you have to recognize Israel and fly away. You have to recognize the United States and fly away too. But these people, the Russians, they are tough, you know. So they are doing the right thing. You're only free to speak your mind in the US if you are saying what the authorities want you to say, Russia Today contributor and former aide to Joe Biden, Tara Reid, has claimed. Reid appeared live on Russia Today on Thursday to comment on the search carried out by federal agents and state policy at the home of former US Marine and UN Weapons Inspector Scott Ritter in New York State on Wednesday. She and Ritter, who is now a journalist, had both been invited to speak at the 27th St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, SPIEF, in June. But, quote, unfortunately the federal agents took him off the plane and confiscated his passport, Reid recalled. Yeah, so Ritter is a martyr, kind of. He's not a fully martyr, but Scott Ritter is a bastion, maybe. A bastion, yeah. She said Ritter's passport was never returned to him by the US authorities. Quote, usually that indicates that someone is under investigation because they take away your passport, she said. The government in Washington has been going after Scott Ritter for years, since he spoke out against the war in Iraq and revealed that the US government lied about the weapons of mass destruction. The former Biden aide claimed. The persecution of the journalist and commentator whose views on the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, as well as Israel's war in Gaza, contrasts sharply with those of the White House. It's just a pattern of what you are seeing in the US, which is the surveillance state and authoritative government. She argued. I would say authoritarian, but yeah, authoritative government. Quote, we have the illusion of free speech. We have that illusion of a right to travel. But in reality, it is only allowed if we say what the US want people to say. Otherwise, you are at risk. Reid said, yeah, definitely. I know that. Hey, Tommy! Aquí. Tommy! Otherwise, you are at risk, Reid said. She also suggested that since Kamala Harris replaced Joe Biden as the Democratic presidential candidate last month, the party is going back to the old Russiagate hysteria. Ritter, who is also an Russia Today contributor, described the search of his property as an act of intimidation against him. The authorities appear to be primarily concerned about his relationship with Russia Today and the news agency Sputnik. The journalist said in a video message on Telegram on Thursday. The 61-year-old revealed that FBI agents blamed him for working on behalf of the Russian government to manipulate the opinions of the American public. Ritter rejected those accusations as absurd in the extreme. He insisted that he was doing nothing wrong and was just an American citizen holding my government accountable and exercising the rights given to me by the Constitution. In 2020, Tara Reid accused then Senator Joe Biden of sexually assaulting her when she worked as an aide on his team in 1993. She moved to Russia last year due to concerns for her safety in the U.S., but has since returned home. I guess she didn't return. Yeah, maybe she never returned home. Yeah, she was like Aide is like a technical supporter. Another news from Russia Today, August 8, 2024. Home world news. EU states warns about consequences of Ukrainian attack on Russia. Kursk region intrusion has disrupted the gas flow, Slovakia's former economy minister said. Yeah, so Slovakia is warning Ukraine, you know. Slovakia is enough for Slovakia, you know. Slovakia doesn't want more NATO. A file photo. A valve is seen in front of a pipeline at the Russian gas compressor station in Zutsa, near the Russian-Ukrainian border on January 11. This is a file photo from 2009. It's an artistic one. Anyway, the volume of natural gas flowing through the Druzhba pipeline has already decreased as Ukrainian troops allegedly took over the station at Zutsa in Russia's Kursk region. Former Slovak economy minister Karel Hirman has warned. Heavy fighting has reportedly been taking place near Zutsa since Tuesday, when more than 1,000 Ukrainian troops crossed the Russian border. Quote, Russian gas supplies through Ukraine towards Slovakia are seriously endangered, Hirman said Thursday in a Facebook post, noting that the flow has dropped to 37.25 million cubic meters, the lowest daily volume since May 2023. Previously said Hirman, the pipeline held steady at 42 million cubic meters. The former economy minister was following up on his press conference in Bratislava on Wednesday, when he warned that the flow of Russian natural gas through Ukraine could be completely halted as the result of the fighting. Slovakia's gas utility SPP claims to have prepared for the possibility of disruptions in supply for years and looked at alternative sources. Officially, the goal of Kiev's operation is to instill fear in the Russian population, according to Vladimir Zelensky's advisor, Mikhail Podolyak. The US needs to yank the chain of the neo-Nazis in the Ukrainian army and stop supplying Ukraine with weapons. The Russian envoy in Washington. The Russian envoy in Washington, Anatoly Antonov, has said the American government has yet to do anything, however, saying only it has reached out to Kiev for more information. Even after the outbreak of Russia-Ukraine hostilities in February 2022, Gazprom continued to send fuel through Ukrainian territory, plane transit fees to Kiev that helped fuel Ukraine's war effort. The Ukrainian government recently insisted on stopping all Russian exports. However, Zutsa is the last remaining gas metering station in operation between Ukraine and Russia. In early 2022, Ukraine shut off the Shodanovka station in Donbass. In August that year, Kiev demanded that all gas flows be redirected through Zhutia, which Moscow rejected. The following months, the twin Nord Stream pipeline, during running between Russia and Germany, were sabotaged and heavily damaged. No one has officially taken responsibility for the explosions, although the US sought to deflect accusation by blaming rogue Ukrainian elements. So these are quite multipolar war is winning, but Palestinians will perish. Unfortunately, that's capitalism. That's what that was. Crazy Jews, Zionists, crazy Zionist Jews. There was no option for Palestinians. Today is being hot, you know. Summer is coming. So I guess I'm going to skip to, maybe Timur Fomenko. Unfortunately, I always remember Timur Fomenko because he used to, I guess he is Anatoly Fomenko in reality. I'm sorry, but, and why Russia Today take him off? Why they, Russia Today? Because Anatoly Fomenko or Timur Fomenko, he was too good. He was too, just too good for this world. He was so nice. He was teaching history. Actually, his columns were about history. They teach a lot of history critically. Understand? In a critical way. So. Critical history is absolutely bad for everybody, you know. For these Orthodox Russian people, it's terrible. History for them, for any religious people, for any woke-ace people, history is terrible, unfortunately. But yeah, and I was thinking about Anatoly Fomenko. Definitely, I will start to study alternative history or the new chronology. I will do it. But anyway, so Russia Today. A news about Australia now. August 9, Australia being turned into 54th U.S. state. Ex-Prime Minister, August 9. Canberra is losing its strategic autonomy due to its security pact with the U.S. and U.K., Paul Keating has argued. We have a file photo from Paul Keating. The U.S. is surrounding Australia with military bases under the AUKUS Pact, which undermines the country's sovereignty and makes it a legitimate target for China, former Prime Minister Paul Keating has said. In an interview with ABC on Thursday, Keating, who served as Prime Minister between 1991 and 1996, voices strong skepticism about whether his country benefits from being a member of AUKUS, a landmark security partnership between Australia, UK and the US, which was announced in 2021. The pact, which has been condemned by China, focuses on helping Australia acquire nuclear-powered submarines. Keating argued that by allowing the US to displace our military and surround the country with bases, Canberra is essentially giving up its right to determine its foreign and defense policy, Australia will completely lose its strategic autonomy as a result, he claimed. So AUKUS is really about, in American terms, the military control of Australia. Keating said, adding that the government of Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is likely to turn Australia into the 54th state of the United States. The former Prime Minister added that the expanded military presence makes the country a target from China's point of view. We are now quote, "We are now defending the fact that we are in AUKUS. If we did not have an aggressive ally like the United States, aggressive to others in the region, there will be nobody attacking Australia. We are better left alone," Keating said. The US, he argued, is trying to superintend China, with tensions between the two being fueled by a power struggle over the self-ruled island of Taiwan, which Beijing views as part of its sovereign territory. However, Keating argued that the Taiwan situation is not a vital Australian interest, while China has no strategic design on Australia. The US attitude to Taiwan is comparable to China deciding that Tasmania needed help breaking away from Australia, he said. The former Prime Minister remarks come after Australian Defence Minister Richard Marles and Foreign Minister Penny Wong traveled to Washington for talks about AUKUS Pact and to discuss a new agreement on the transfer of nuclear material to Canberra as part of disputes to acquire domestic-built atomic submarines from 2030s. China has warned that the AUKUS agreement raises nuclear proliferation risks, adding that it was conceived in the Cold War mentality, which will only motivate an arms race. Russia has also sounded the alarm about the security situation in the Asia Pacific, insisting that it has no place for closest military and potential alliances. You know, I think I'm going to Pepe Escobar Telegram. To Pepe Escobar Telegram. Pepe Escobar Telegram. Medvedev Ultra Unplugged. From now on, it's no hold barred. From now on, the SMO must assume that an openly extraterritorial character. This is no longer just an operation to return our official territories and punish the Nazis. We can and must go on the lands of the still existing Ukraine, to Odessa, to Kharkov, to the Dnepropetrovsk, to Nikolaev, to Kiev, and further. There should be no restrictions in the sense of some borders of the Ukrainian rage reorganized by someone. And now we can and must talk about this openly, without embarrassment and diplomatic courses. The terrorist operation of the Banderites must remove any taboos from this topic. Let everyone, including the English bastards, realize this. we still stop only. We will stop only when we consider it acceptable and beneficial for ourselves. That's it. Yeah. So we have to learn a lot from Russian people. So this was not the latest, but now I'm going to read one of the latest from Pepe Escobar Telegram. Romania threatened by its own militarization as NATO's center shifts to the Black Sea. After the Times reported earlier this week that work is underway to transform the Mikhail Kogalniceanu MK airbase near the Black Sea port of Constanța in Romania into the largest NATO military base in Europe, it's become clear NATO's military infrastructure is advancing toward Russia, not only in the Baltics, but also on the Black Sea coast. On the Black Sea coast. Quote, NATO center shifts east as it moves the largest European base to Romania. The Times headline said. So what is known about MK so far? Right now, the Mikhail Kogalniceanu base already covers 500 hectares of land and serves as a home to thousands of NATO troops, including the 101st U.S. Airborne Division. By 2030, the MK base will have the capacity to host 10,000 soldiers and civilian personnel, and it is expected to be fully operational by 2040. By 2040. The MK base will overtake NATO's Ramstein base in Germany. Ramstein, just like the band. Swallowing up 2,800 hectares of farmland, housing many thousands NATO troops, and being double the size of German 50,000 garrison in Ramstein, according to the Times. The MK base is located just 250 miles away from Russia's Crimea and 186 miles from the strategically and spiritually important port city of Odessa. Romanian authorities officially announced that they will finance the expansion of the base, expected to be around 2.5 billion euros, which is $2.7 billion. Romania bought 3 squadrons of F-16 fighter jets and plans to buy 32 ultra-modern F-35 Lightning jets that will be stationed at the base. Recently, the base was visited by nuclear-capable B-52 bombers that flew there from the U.S. Once the news of the MK base's modernization was revealed, Moscow reacted accordingly. Russian Senator Andrei Klimov said that the closer the base is to Russia's borders, the more likely it is to be among the first targets for retaliation strikes. Anyway, go Russia! That's it. So the only important thing I do here is my yoga. The only really important thing is my yoga and Daniel Jadue. Daniel Jadue is in prison, people. It's the only chance for Chile. As I was saying, Brazil is a pretty lost country. They think Chile is a role model, but in reality, Lula was here in Chile just to make business of mine business, mineralogy, lithium, copper, and stuff.
ciudad, ¿ya?
And I guess Lula got surprised because of the lack of initiative and industrialization of Chile, you know? This is a very stupid country. A country of rats.
El acceso a la
Chile.
cultura. Que vuelvo a decir,
So,
es
Free Daniel
distinta a la
Jadwe.
participación cultural, y ahí hay que entender que una ciudad en donde la gente no tiene participación cultural, aunque tenga toda nuestra ciudad, ¿ya? Yo creo que no.
Oye, lo otro que me quedó dando vuelta, ¿quién hoy día tiene necesariamente que ir al centro de Santiago a pagar una cuenta? Tú dijiste, no es una ciudad inteligente alguien que tiene que ir al centro a pagar, pero ¿quién tiene que ir obligada? Por internet se paga todo. ¿Cómo le quiere pagar una cuenta? Explícamelo.
Es que yo la verdad que a mí disculpe, querido amigo César, y lo voy a decir con toda la elegancia,
Claro.
me llama profundamente la atención tu comentario. Porque me da la sensación de que tú vives en una burbuja, en donde mucha gente tiene acceso a internet. Pero yo te aviso que en la comuna de Recoleta, por ejemplo, la penetración de internet domiciliario es bajísimo. Oye, si en los sectores populares la gente no tiene computador en sus casas. ¿Te acordáis el problema que teníamos en tiempo de pandemia cuando quisieron hacer las clases remotas, que la mayoría de los estudiantes de Chile no tenían cómo hacerlas? ¿Te acordáis la niña que se tenía que subir al techo en el sur de su casa para ver si le llegaba la red? Es que esa fantasía de los que sí tenemos acceso a la cultura, de que hoy día todo se hace por internet, no es la realidad de la mayor parte de Chile.
En Recoleta, ¿cuál es la realidad? Pero en Recoleta, tú eres el alcalde de la comuna de Recoleta. ¿Cuál es la realidad del acceso a internet de la comuna de Recoleta hoy día? La vecina,
El domiciliario debe estar cerca del 40 o 45%. No creo que sea más. Recuerdo un número, pero era hace 10 años, 37%. Yo creo que eso ha avanzado mucho, pero tú sabes que en Recoleta todavía tenemos zonas rojas en donde internet no llega porque las empresas no ponen, no llega internet.
¿Pero por qué las empresas no van a instalar internet si alguien le pide?
Porque no es rentable o porque la inversión que tienen que hacer no les da. No, si esto no es. Ahora, claro, uno dice, ya, pero todos tienen teléfono. Claro, pero es que no todos saben manejar a través del teléfono las cuentas. Porque además para pagar por internet, César, ¿sabes qué tienes que hacer, no? Tienes que estar bancarizado. Tienes que tener una cuenta.
Ah, bueno, claro.
De banco. Y la verdad que no todo Chile tiene cuenta, ¿no? Ni siquiera la cuenta RUT.
Yeah, Chilean trash.